You're listening to Premier League Darts live on talkSPORT 2 in partnership with Village Hotels. Pack more into a breakaway at Village. Visit villagehotels.com. We are just about getting our breath back after that 9-leg thriller between Luke Littler and Stephen Bunting. And you might want to get your teeth around these numbers. Stephen Bunting, 104.89 as an average. He had 6 180 maximum scores in there. 60% on his doubles. He got 3 legs against Luke Littler, who won by 6 legs to 3. Exhilarating, doesn't even come close. And apparently, he's not even feeling 100% tonight. So, fear that young man, the world champion. Fear him, maybe forever. Because that really was something out of this world. 112.34 for Littler. He had 10 maximums, which apparently is not even a record, Laura Turner, but in 9 legs it has to be.
It's got to be something, hasn't it? Absolutely. It was a scoring masterclass from the Nuke. And as you say, if he's not feeling 100%, maybe this is the formula for him, because that was an outstanding performance. But yeah, you mentioned that record. We've had 11 maximums in a match before, but don't forget it was the older format, so there were more legs to play. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone out there knows, is that actually a record for a race to 6? I
can't imagine that anybody's done anything like that. And it's, I suppose the biggest question is, how do you do that and not hit a 9-darter? He's just teasing us. And if he goes backstage now, Laura, and he looks in the eyes of Nathan Aspinall after he's sat back and watched Luke do that, he's thinking, I had to scrape through in 11 legs against Chris Dobey with a 93 average. 93 is not going to be good enough in the second semi-final, is it?
No, it doesn't appear that way, not at all. Not if Luke Littler keeps up that kind of standard. Obviously, it's a very high standard to try and keep up for another, potentially 6 to 11 legs. But the one thing we do know about Luke Littler is he seems to be able to come back and do it again and again. He's an absolute phenom. He's brought new audiences to a sport that we've loved for so many years. I just think darts has never been in a better place.
I couldn't agree more. So many people want to be Luke Littler. So many people want to watch him. You can barely get a ticket for darts these days because of that young man, but there are other stars as well, like Rob Cross, like Luke Humphries, who will go head-to-head in the first semi-final tonight in Exeter. They're probably looking at the other side of the draw and saying, Nathan, he's your problem for the next 30 minutes. We've got a little duel of our own to have. Now, Rob and Luke have got a great deal of experience against each other. They haven't played in the Premier League since week 15 of last year, and on that occasion it was Luke Humphries who went a bit crazy, averaging nearly 110 in front of a Leeds crowd where he walked out to I Predict a Riot for the first time.
Yeah, there was something about that night, wasn't it? It just felt destined to be Luke Humphries' night. But you mentioned their head-to-head records, but in the last 8 meetings, which included that one you mentioned, Rob Cross has won 6 of them. So Rob Cross is one of those players, we've seen it maybe earlier on in the Premier League when he plays Bunting, he seems to have this kind of confidence and this hold over certain players, but based on his opening performance, he just managed to get past MVG. I think again he's another player that's just going to need to up it, because this Premier League right now, I feel, is very close to being dominated by the 2 Lukes.
Are we getting to the stage of a lot of these players' careers where we can surmise what their legacy is now? We can talk about Littler and what he's done in the last 18 months. He has bombshelled his way through the world of darts up to the world number 2 spot and become world champion. But when it comes to Cross, he is a somewhat unheralded English great, because he's a world champion, he's a match play champion, a 2-time European champion, but he doesn't garner the headlines the same way that other players do.
No, and actually I would still argue the fact that, to me, as a newcomer, Rob Cross still had the biggest impact. His first year, when he went to the World Championships, he won it. Not just won it, he beat the great Phil Taylor in the final by doing so as well. So yeah, I do agree. I think Rob Cross is perhaps one of those players, goes under the radar slightly because he isn't kind of the most exuberant player. He isn't necessarily the one that whacks in all the big averages, but he just kind of quietly, or sometimes not so quietly with Rob, but goes about his business and gets the job done more times than not. He has picked up a lot of major trophies.
And a lot of trophies elsewhere as well. Now these two have won this season away from Premier League Darts. Luke Humphries won the Winmore World Masters, and Rob Cross has won on the floor, something he has been brilliant at doing since he turned to the Pro Tour back in 2017. But these guys are going to be very happy with the start of their season. Are they going to be happy in about 30 minutes time, I wonder, as they go toe to toe in a best of 11 match on the stage in Exeter once again. We've been covering Premier League Darts for the last few weeks. Is that Littler performance that we've just seen, is that the best performance of the year so far?
I mean, it depends how you look at it. To me, yes, because he's come out of it, he's won. He's actually had a higher average at Premier League already. If you go back to that week 1 in Belfast, 113 average, but that was a losing average. I just think he's now, he has really all the time, but he's just this all-round package. When he's on it, he just looks absolutely unbeatable, and that tonight was evidence of it.
Luke Humphries tonight, after coming through in his first match, is he going to be happy with just getting a win, or is he now in the mould of, if I don't win the night, that's not good enough?
I think you could probably make that argument for everyone. I do think, you know, those 8 players that are in there, they're in there for a reason. They all want to be picking up that trophy because they are all winners, and that is what they want to do. But Luke Humphries has obviously just gone not under the radar, but he's out of the spotlight slightly just because of the dominance that Luke Little has taken, you know, in terms of headlines. So for Luke Humphries, again, he'll go quietly about his business, he'll try and get the job done, but he will want to pick up that trophy.
Do you see that as a good thing though? Because before they grace the stage in this semi-final, it seems no matter what Humphries does, if Littler's around and he's winning like that, he gets all the clicks, all the headlines, everything that comes with modern day sport. I have an opinion that Humphries doesn't mind that, because he can be world number 1, he can actually break through the £2 million barrier at the UK Open this weekend if he wins the title, and nobody's ever done that. Not Phil Taylor, not Michael van Gerwen. That could be history for him. But headlines like that get lost when it comes to Humphries, because Littler gets all the clicks and all the headlines, and everybody's talking about him ahead of the world number 1.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you. I don't actually think Humphries is that bothered, because ultimately what he wants at the end of the day is to get his darts to do the talking, and that is what he really can do. He was under the cosh a bit when he won tonight against Gerwyn Price. He did have to push, but just pulls out these perfect finishes, the 1-5-6, just at the right time. And yeah, for me, he's just another player. He's just all round.
We are awaiting the players to go down the catwalk, the runway, whatever you want to call it. We don't mind, but it's going to be another dose of the new walk-on track for Rob Cross, something he's employed this year, and he's struggled with his darting identity a little bit over the years. He's had a change of nickname, change of dart shirts, change of walk-on music. I don't think he's fully embraced the whole brand. He's still searching for something in that regard, but while he does, he can still continue to win, and he's got one of his old adversaries in the way. John McDonald's on the stage, about to bring out our semi-finalists.
And always a special welcome to our viewers joining us live on Sky Sports. It's time to welcome back our players. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our semi-final. Would you please welcome a two-time European champion, the winner of 5 World Series titles, a World Match Play champion. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former champion of the world, Rob.
Well, this walk-on track's got you dancing, Laura. And why not? The lyrics state, tonight's the weekend and he doesn't want to wait. Well, the weekend will have to wait, because there's a job to do before you go to Minehead. 2 points from tonight, guaranteed. Another point in the bag if you can win your semi-final, and the opportunity of adding to that again. As he runs up the steps and is greeted by the pyrotechnics, voltage, a somewhat fitting nickname for the ex-Sparky, and the man who cut the power out of PDC Darts at the start of 2018. But now he's got Luke Humphries in his way, and he is, according to the rankings, the best player on this planet.
Let's welcome back the world number one, the reigning world match play champion, the reigning World Cup champion, the newly crowned world master. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former champion of the world.
He made the final the first week of the Premier League and won. He made the final in Glasgow as well and lost to Littler. And at that point, it was our commentary colleague Chris Murphy that called him cut hand Luke, because he sustained a small injury just before the final. But he looks full of beans as he looks to go one more into Exeter to try and get a second nightly title, en route to something that he does not own. They do have something in common, these two. They've both been to a Premier League playoff final at the O2. Neither got the job done. Rob Cross lost to MVG. Humphries lost to Littler about 9 months ago. But Cross did not lose to Van Gerwen tonight.
No, did get the better of him eventually. Yeah, when Rob Cross does make a playoff, he seems to be stopped in his wake by Michael Van Gerwen, so it would have been a nice sweet victory. And Luke Humphries continues to conduct the crowd to sing along to I Predict a Riot. I do like the change in Luke Humphries' walk-on.
Yeah, he definitely looks more relaxed these days, which is great to see. And I think playing your best whilst relaxed is a real skill. It shows that you don't have any external pressures, whether it's financial or rankings, anything like that. If you're top of the tree, like Luke Humphries is, he's £800,000 ahead of Luke Littler in the rankings. He's going to have that ranking for quite a long time by the looks of it. All he is worried about tonight is winning a game of darts. He's not worrying about a mortgage payment or anything like that. That's the beauty of modern day PDC Darts. Financial security. It's a case of go out there and give everything you've got. But it was Cross that actually had the better numbers in the first round tonight in the quarterfinals. Averaged nearly 100, 99.33 to be exact. He only scored one maximum though. Just 9 less than Littler. And he played 2 more legs.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable stats still from Luke Littler. Still trying to get my head quite round how you can squeeze that many 180s in a match, but he managed it. It's Rob Cross kicking off the action here in our first semi-final, trying to make his first final of this year's Premier League.
Another thing these two have got in common is that they've both lost one game at Exeter in the Premier League in their careers. They've both had one draw as well. Humphries starts with a purpose. First maximum. He might have 11 on his mind.
Well, there's not many. We always think there's not many records left to break, and then someone else comes along and just finds a way to raise that bar once again.
I'm almost grateful that I'm not playing in PDC Darts with this kind of stuff around. I'd be asking for a 4th dart. If you're tuning in on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel, we appreciate your company. Thanks for being with us. Make sure to subscribe for all of the content we've got coming your way. And that's another 180 from Humphries. So he's on 84 after 9. He's got 2 maximums already. And that's what Littler was doing. He was averaging 2 180s a leg at one point. And Humphries seems to have got the bug.
Yeah, it's a really strong start, isn't it? Humphries still remains, looks very relaxed. Just under the treble 20.
52.
Opts for the 16s, leaves themselves on 32, but this is a chance for Cross.
Yeah, he didn't go for the 14 and bull there, Humphries, on the 84. Curious, because Cross is on 160, and he might just take it out. The first is in the treble 20, right in the meat as well. Maybe not far north enough, and he has to get his second dart in the 60 on dart 3, which is a little bit too late. Humphries on double 16 and takes it immediately. The tiniest little scare at the end of that first leg. But there's a different look about Humphries in this one. He's taking care of the Iceman. Now he's trying to cut the power that is voltage.
Yeah, I do think that's a risky strategy. Obviously it paid off for Humphries in the end, but as a player, when someone doesn't go the kind of the route to leave a bullseye, how much you want to take out that big finish just to hurt them that little bit more.
And it feels good when you do.
Absolutely.
It feels really good. So does that for Humphries, right in the top half of that 60 bed. And if he does that a lot for the rest of the night, he's going to be really hard to stop. Now, Humphries at the end of his first visit was looking up on the stage as if to say there was a distraction. We'll keep an eye on that for you on talkSPORT 2, because these venues are large and sometimes they can have a bit of extra airflow.
Yeah, especially as you mentioned previously, Exeter is renowned for being one of the chillier of the venues. I've been there a couple of times myself, all wrapped up in a coat.
You've got to get used to all different weather conditions in darts. It's a 12-month season. But one thing that Humphries has done very well over the last couple of years is he's taken constructive breaks. He plays in everything. He's eligible for everything. World Cup, World Series, Premier League. And he has to take those breaks, otherwise he'd be burnt by May.
Yeah, it's definitely something that players have to look at now. You really do have to manage the diary. That's a solid visit there from Rob Cross. 140 to leave 80, but it's Humphries for 149. Pulls it low, can't find the treble 20.
59.
Trebleless visit leaves 90. He'll be curious to see what he does with 90 if he gets a look. Cross on 80, small 20, so has to go north of that. Gets a beautiful meaty big single 20. One dart for tops from the angle. It's just underneath. Now what does Humphries do on 90? Because Bunting, when he had this in the previous game, went bull first. Humphries goes for the 20s and gets 3 of them. Can he hit double 15 with his third dart? He can't. He's either side of it with his 2 efforts. He sits on 15 and Cross back for double 10.
Yeah, unlucky there, not far away for Humphries, but that goes on the inside, so 10 remaining. Pulls it in the 5 and a frustratedly thrown last dart from Rob Cross.
That was really close to a foul dart. Kirk Bevins took his time over that last dart. Humphries on 15 and taken out in 2. There was a warning as well from the referee to Cross, as if to say, don't throw whilst your foot is on top of the hockey. That's a foul dart, and that does constitute a warning. Back comes Cross with a maximum.
Yeah, they do have to be careful. I know it's frustrating, especially when you do spurn an opportunity, and that was a big chance for Cross, but you cannot afford to make mistakes.
Well, one of the reasons why players get warned in moments like that is because they're throwing sharp objects forward, and there are 3 people forward of their position, so they have to be warned. But obviously someone's lit a fire under Cross, because 5 treble 20s from 6 darts to start leg 3. He seems to have got the message.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an important one for Cross. He has thrown first in this leg. Will want to find a way of holding, and really is in control right now. Finds another treble 20. Switches to the 25. 85 scored, so 96 remaining. Back up there for a treble and finds it. Great setup play from Rob Cross.
I find it somewhat miraculous to say this, but Rob Cross is on for the leg of the night. Nobody's had a 10 yet. Double 18, usually something that is academic for the man from Hastings. And that is a 10 dart leg for voltage. Now it just goes to show, doesn't it, the kind of evolution you have to have in your career. Rob has moved from his beloved East Sussex down on the south coast and now lives in Lincolnshire, and that is purely for the sake of his career, to make himself maybe as good as Humphries is.
Yeah, and people do have a if you compare it to, say, some of the European players, or even, you know, someone like Damon Heta or Simon Whitlock, you know, they've had to uproot themselves from Australia, relocate over to the UK to get the best version of themselves.
Well, Humphries started this leg with a maximum, the same way that Cross did in the previous leg. Has Luke got himself that little gap that he can just hold on to for the rest of this match? It's a big thing to say when there's only 3 legs completed, but these guys can measure this themselves with their own throw throughout.
It's a relatively simple recipe, isn't it? It's easy for us to sit here and actually say it, but now he's found that early break of throw. All he has to do is hold. If he can just hold his own throw, then he'll be in the final.
And if Cross does not break back, that's the end of it. He will be in the Exeter final. 167, doesn't have to take it. Cross back on 2-3-4. That one is right in the middle of the 60. He's got the 57. It's not a bullseye. We're still waiting for that massive 160 plus checkout of the night, because we've had a maximum checkout the last 3 weeks. It's just a matter of time before somebody takes it out. It's not going to be Cross though. He gets a 140 to leave 94. Humphries on 25.
Humphries finds a 9, so double 8 the target, just inside, has to move across for double 4, which he pins. Extends that lead to 3-1, and I have to say, it goes back to what you were saying, Paul, that break just feels all so important.
And that double 4 bed has now been found twice in a row by Humphries. He's found a friend in the top right corner of the board. It's a bit like on a football pitch. If you find a weakness in the defence and your right winger is quick and effective, give them the ball. In this game right now, Humphries keep leaving double 4 because he just doesn't miss it.
Yeah, very efficient, very effective on the outer ring. It's a good last dart there from Rob Cross. Finds the treble 18, third dart of asking.
Humphries using those elongated black stems, the longest on tour by some distance. Shorter barrel, front loaded, very uncomplicated pattern on them. Something that hasn't changed throughout his now illustrious career. As Cross is trying to mount an offensive. That'll work.
Rob Cross down to 88. Courtesy of that maximum you've just heard called in. Just a ton for Humphries, so 88 required. And Rob Cross does have 6 darts from here if needed.
If he needs them. Small 20 on 88. That leaves 68, so treble 20 again. No joy.
56.
The layup for 32 is good enough. Averaging north of 105 here, Cross. Humphries not having to average on over 100 just yet. He needs 120. Rob needs clinical action in the bottom left corner. His double so far, only 1 from 4. Make that 1 from 5. It's an awkward angle now, but it's a nice deflection off the flight to make it 3-2 Humphries. Cross within 1 once again on talkSPORT 2.
Yeah, and I will say for Rob Cross, throughout this Premier League campaign so far, his doubling success has been the biggest worry for me. He's down at 31% coming into this evening's action. Missed 14 in that victory, that loss when he was 5-1 up against Luke Littler.
We've just seen Luke Humphries flick an ironic thumbs up at the dartboard as if to say, yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Well, it's amazing how many dart players will look at the board and the darts and do that. They should be putting the thumb the other way because it's the person who throws them that's at fault.
Yeah, but you do see it quite a lot, don't you? Kind of sarcastic cheer when something doesn't quite go your own way, but dart players, unfortunately, you only have yourself to blame.
That's what MVG says all the time. You can only look at yourself. Humphries 316 brings it down by 140. He's averaging 96. Cross still with the better numbers, but not the favourable position, as he goes for the 19s on 306. 2 small 19s won't get it done, and this is another leg where Humphries is taking command on throw.
Yeah, just needs to set up here. 2 single 20s, just trying to find the treble. Does go trebleless, but is the first to a finish. 116 for Humphries, plays 248 for Rob Cross.
If voltage is going to make a big dent in this score, it has to be now. And 85 isn't good enough. That leaves 163. No finish for Rob, giving Humphries more room to breathe. 116. Not going to be taken with the two small 20s to start, but that's a really effective switch to the treble 16 because now 28 is left. He decided to not persevere in the treble 20 and he looked for a plan B and it worked.
Yeah, the lie of those first two darts were very awkward, and as you say, effective use of the board. We see it more and more. 28 now required, just outside. The pause was because that was so close to the wire, that was impossible to see from the angle.
Well, now Rob Cross has been given a gift. Everybody in Exeter is in disbelief that Humphries has missed that double 14. They don't know how it's missed. And Cross has got 64 to steal a march here against the darts to make it, you guessed it, 3-3. Double 16 is found. It's 3-3. How is he level? Humphries is disconsolate and Cross is in disbelief that this is level.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a real shake of the head. Luke Humphries goes back to his table. Not happy with the outcome, understandably so, but I just don't think you could have got any closer to that double without getting it in.
I'm not overselling this, but his second dart was so close to the wire of double 14, you couldn't have got an atom between the point and the double. And that is what Humphries does with his displeasure. Maximum to start, back comes Cross. He almost gets a maximum to back it up. He sits on 304 with Humphries now on a 9.
We're back in the treble again and again. Looking for a third. Oh, has to settle for a 140, but 5 treble 20s out the 6. Down to 181 after just 6.
He has hit a 9-darter against Rob Cross before in a European Tour final. But not in Exeter. We're still waiting for our first perfect leg in this year's Premier League. It'll come. It's just a question of when.
We had to wait all the way to the finals night at the O2, I think, to get our first 9 last year. I hope they don't make us wait that long.
Don't tease us, Laura. We don't want to wait that long. Humphries on 76 after 9 darts in response to that breaking of the throw by Cross in leg number 6. Cross is on a finish, so Humphries on 76 hits a 5, and he can't recover on the treble 13. Tops left, and he is really annoyed that he didn't get a dart at a double there. Cross on 164, this would sting.
Yeah, this would really hurt. Looking at the 19s, finds the first treble 19, needs a second. Cross just readjusting, moving across the yockey. Just deflects slightly.
He knew that was on. He's disappointed he didn't get that second treble 19. Humphries misses tops low, and then 10's left, and then 5's low as well. He rushes to the board to take the darts out. He is livid because he's handed leg 7 on a plate to Rob Cross, and he's taken it, wrapped a ribbon around it and said, this is mine. It's 4-3 Cross.
Back-to-back legs there for Rob Cross. And as you say, there to me are 2 legs that Luke Humphries really did have in the bag. There is some real frustration coming from the Luke Humphries camp.
Oh, you're not joking. Someone who keeps his cool most of the time. He knows that he's handed the lead to Cross. It's as if he's gone to a 5-star hotel and he's been given burnt toast for his breakfast. He is devastated with a 4-3 deficit.
Yeah, but they are the fine margins, and I mentioned earlier on that element of finishing, which had been Cross's biggest problem coming into this week 4. He seems to have rectified it here. When he's been presented the chances, he's taken them. You've
got to give Cross credit. For the night, he's averaging 99, and that could be a lot of bigger numbers. That's a 5th maximum of this game for Humphries, and he flicks a smile as if to say, well, I just can't figure this game out, he says.
Yeah, join the club. I think you'll find a lot of players quite often think that. Honestly, if there was something you could bottle, you would.
Starts the 1-2-1 combo on the 25, gets a 60, double 18. Then the thumbs up towards the board is more towards, oh, I just won leg 8. Yes, you did, Mr. World number 1. It's 4-4.
It's kind of going full Andrew Gilding on us so far. We've seen more thumbs up from Luke Humphries than we have from Gilding.
Absolutely brilliant check out. And a great response as well. Lesser players would have crumbled in a position like that against Cross. He's 4 from 14 on the doubles. Cross is 4 from 8. That's better on the outer ring for him. Like you mentioned, Laura, it hasn't been a great time of it on the doubles recently, but it's better in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, much improved. And that advantage, that break that we said that Humphries had, now Cross has broken back and held throw. I feel like his advantage now, Rob Cross, 2-2-1, place 3-0-2.
Humphries is actually on Rob's number, 302. He made that famous, because from 302, he would throw 6 more darts and become world champion in 2018. Humphries isn't going to do that. Even if he had found 3 treble 18s to leave 140 points, Cross would still have this shot at 81. Single 19, go for treble 10 and gets it. Double 16 for a 5-4 lead on throw. And he's better than 50% on the doubles now. Rob Cross has turned up the heat. Great game. Will it go to a last leg decider? And after that 180 start from Humphries in leg 10, it's very possible.
Yeah, as you say, great game, but great response once again from the world number 1. Already seen him threaten a 9, went 5 into it, 3 into it, in a leg that he has to win if he's going to make the final.
It's probably a good thing that he's not hit a 9-darter, because the 2 9-darters he's hit on the European Tour in the last 2 seasons, he's lost both of those games. 266 left for Luke Humphries, 3-6-7 Cross. This might be one of those situations, if he doesn't get close in the next 45 seconds, let's just focus on leg 11.
Yeah, absolutely. Cross did have to face a 1-leg shootout, a last leg decider in his opening match against Michael van Gerwen. Just edged out Mighty Mike, the Green Machine.
Humphries knows he can't win by the same scoreline as he did in the quarterfinals. He beat Price 6-4 earlier tonight, live on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. 167 for Humphries. Is he going to go for the bullseye this time? Oh, it's the biggest one of the night! What a great time to find a 167 checkout. It takes us the distance and instills the confidence in the world number 1 that maybe he can get out of this with another point.
Yeah, that 1-2-1 backed up by the 167. It's a finishing masterclass now from Luke Humphries. And instead of that sarcastic thumbs up that he's presented a couple of times, we had a real pointed finger. He knew that was not just important, but that was an exceptional finish.
If he wants a new nickname, Luke Humphries would easily get the Executioner's Blade, because his knack of finishing things off with a clinical nature is somewhat mythical. He started with a 140, but Cross comes back with one of his own to lead 261. Humphries back at the hockey now, looking to go one better, and does. He leaves 181 after 6 with an 80-point advantage.
The 7th maximum of the match for Luke Humphries, but the time to get it. Now Cross, with everything to do, finds a treble 22nd dart of asking. Has to settle for a ton, but it does put him on a finish.
His 3rd flight keeps falling on the floor, Cross. He's on 161. Humphries with a last start 25 to leave 116. Cross has a shot to win this match. Nobody's had a match start yet, and Rob is not going to get one. Went for the treble 18 first, and he skews his way to treble 7 with his 2nd dart. Back to the 60 with no joy. He's on 116 now. Humphries is at the hockey with 116 for the match. 60 hit. He's on tops and wins. A finishing masterclass. It is again from the world number 1. 167 out to take it the distance. 121 to get his confidence back after an incredible turn of events on double 14. And then he triple dips to get a 116 at the end, to get a minimum of 3 points from Exeter, and he has a chance to win tonight, to take the jackpot and the points to Minehead tomorrow. Humphries' mood has been up and down in that one, Laura, but now he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, his reaction afterwards, it looked like he'd been through some kind of emotional roller coaster, and you can understand why, because he was really pushed, he was really threatened by Rob Cross at points in that match. And towards the tail end, it looked like Cross may just get the better of Luke Humphries, but as you say, those finishes absolutely exceptional from Luke Humphries. He finds himself in the final once again. It's the 3rd final from 4 for Luke Humphries. Who would he be facing?
How is Rob Cross feeling right now after that roller coaster, Laura? Just quickly.
Yeah, I think his reaction, it was a great reaction, sportsman-like all the way as you expect from Rob, and I think he knew he was just in a very, very good game. It's so tough. These are 8 of the best players in the world, but I think there's a lot that Rob Cross can take to Minehead off the back of that performance.
Well, at least he's stopped his 3-game losing streak, so look at the positives that way. But Humphries is looking for a second nightly win in this year's Premier League. He's going to have to go through either Nathan Aspinall or Luke Littler, who will go head-to-head in our second semi-final. That's coming up on talkSPORT 2 and live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. So, first semi-final in the books. It's Luke Humphries 6, Rob Cross 5. And when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. Among the fastest VPNs available on the market, NordVPN gives you a quick location change when you need it most. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Stick with us on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. We've got the second semi-final coming your way. It's going to be Littler, hopefully playing the way he was in his first game of the night. And if he does, Nathan Aspinall has got a lot to do.